أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. Surah 50, 90, I'm sorry, Surah 50, 56, the event. And again, as I said, 96 verses. Verses are very short, so we'll finish it. Go ahead, please, Mom.
Can they hear it?
Huh?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. When the event transpires, no one can deny its occurrence, humiliating and exulting. When the ground trembled from its foundation and the mountains were like fluffy wool, then they were scattered like dust. And you were stratified into 3 groups. Then there are the dwellers of the bliss. Oh, what dwellers of the bliss! And the dwellers of misery. Woe to the dwellers of misery, and the front runners far ahead of all. These shall be the closest. In blissful paradises, a group from the early generations, and a few from the latter generations, on furnishings adorned with precious stones. Relaxing on them, they will be neighbors. Mingling with them will be immortal children, with goblets, pitchers, and cups filled with pure drinks. They never run out of it, and they never get tired. And there will be fruits of their choice, and the meat of birds that they desire, and beautiful companions like protected pearls. A just reward for their deeds. They will never hear any nonsense therein, nor a sinful utterance. Only the utterance of peace, peace. Then there are the dwellers of the bliss. Oh, what dwellers of the bliss! In lush orchards, decorated trees with fruits, an extended shade, and ever-flowing water, and abundant fruit, never running out, never forbidden, and exalted furnishings. We will initiate them a special initiation, and we will make them virtuous. Perfectly matched for the dwellers of the bliss, a group from the early generations and a group from the latter generations. As for the dwellers of misery, woe to the dwellers of misery. They will be in simoon and scalding water and burning shade, never cooling, never pleasing. Indeed, they used to be opulent before this, and they insisted on the great perjury. And they used to say, when we die and become dust and bones, will we then indeed be resurrected? And our ancestors say, indeed, the early generations as well as the latter ones, and will indeed be summoned, all will indeed be summoned for the meeting of an appointed day. Now here you are, O you deviators, liars. You will surely eat from the tree of bitterness. Then you will fill your stomachs therewith. Then you drink scalding water on top of it. Indeed, you will drink with an unquenching thirst. This will be their share on the day of faith. We have created you. Do you not agree? Do you see the semen that you produce? Did you create it, or are we the creator? We have decreed death for you, and we never fail to replace you and to initiate you as something you cannot comprehend. And you certainly know about the first creation. Why then do you not take heed? Do you see what you harvest? Did you farm it, or are we the farmer? Had we willed, we could have turned it into hay. Then you would have ended up astonished. We have indeed suffered a great loss. Indeed, we have been deprived. Do you see the water that you drink? Do you cause it to come down from the cloud, or do we? Had we willed, we could have made it salty. Therefore, why are you not appreciative? Do you see the fire that you ignite? Did you initiate its tree, or are we the initiator? We have made it a reminder and a provision to strengthen you. Therefore, glorify the name of your Lord the Great. I therefore swear by the positions of the stars, and this is certainly a mighty oath if you only knew. This is indeed an honorable Quran in a protected book. No one can understand it except for the pure at heart. A revelation from the Lord of the multiverse. Are you taking this narration lightly? And are you making it your business to stubbornly reject it? Then when she reaches the throat, and you all look around wondering, however, we are closer to him than all of you, but you cannot see. Therefore, if you do not owe anything, bring her back if you are truthful. Then if he is one of the close ones, he will have enjoyment and a paradise full of bliss. And if he is of the dwellers of the bliss, then peace upon you from the dwellers of the bliss. And if he is one of the liars, deviators, he will then descend into an intolerable hell and the abode of the inferno. Indeed, this is the absolute truth. Therefore, glorify the name of your Lord the Great.
Thank you, mashallah. Very good. Okay. All the verses here, very short, as I said, and they are all to the point, and it's very a lot of warnings and a lot of good news that God has given us, and it's just amazing that we do not take heed, and that's what God is warning us, that that if you don't do this, this is what's going to happen to you, that you're going to create hell for yourself. And so we have to be very got any questions?
Salam, Dr. Fazely.
Alaikum assalam. Yes, go ahead, please, Maria.
Yeah, from the verse 60 to 62. So God talks about, we have decreed death for you and we never fail to replace you and to initiate you as something you cannot comprehend. And you certainly know about the first creation. Why then do you not take heed? So the verse 62 about, and you certainly know about the first creation, is this all of a sudden being conscious of what we were before? Because I know you mentioned several times that we don't remember now. So is this about the day of resurrection, or is, if that would be great if you can elaborate a little bit on 61 and 62.
Yeah, this is in here God is let's see, we'll go back to let's see. This will be the share on the day of faith. Okay? And then it says, we have created you, do you not agree? And then, do you see the semen that you produce? This is obviously now, God is talking about now. And did you create it, or are we the creator? And then God says, we indeed decreed death for you, and we never failed to replace you and to initiate you as something you cannot comprehend. Okay. So God is telling us that there are a lot of different states of existence that could happen to people. And so in order for us to be warned that, that this is not a fun and game type of saying that God is serious about this, and all of these are going to happen. And so that's what he's warning us. And so he's telling us now in all of these verses that, you know, and you certainly know about the first creation. Uh, why then do you not take heed? Okay, so we all know that we were born from somebody else. So we were created inside the womb, and then we came out and we grew up as babies, and then we reach maturity as God is telling us in 22:5, and then we get older, and then God says we decree death for you, so we die. And so here God is telling us that all of these stages are going to happen to you. And so you should look into it and think about it seriously.
So it's not about we exist and then we can be initiated into something else.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's just state of existence that could happen to people, okay? Like, you know, people talk about silicon-based life, okay? And so we don't know that. We don't know if that is possible or it's not possible. We have no idea. And how does it feel, for example, for you to be an elementary particle? I don't know. Okay, and that elementary particle would be in touch and in contact with God. And so we don't know what that state of existence is. You know, we think that they really have no consciousness and they're dead and this and that, the others. But the thing is that there is, as I always say, there's a collective consciousness. And so depending on what God has planned for them, they go through that state of existence. And so here God is telling us that, look, that, you know, you could come up with something that you can't even think about. It just blows your mind. And, you know, you could, because all we know, basically, a lot of people, okay, I mean, we have read the Quran, and so our understanding is a lot more encompassing than understanding of everybody else. All they know is basically life and death. And everybody wants to avoid death.
Right.
Okay? So the idea is that, so deep inside of us, we know that death is not a good state of existence. And we understand that from the Quran, because that is not part of God's qualities, that God never dies. So that's some place that we really have no access to God. That's what the state of death is. And it's a very bad state of existence.
So this creation or being initiated into something that we, as you said, the state of existence, something that we can sometimes even not comprehend at all. It has nothing to do with reincarnation, huh?
No, it has nothing to do with that. No. This is obviously after death and after everything's said and done. Then you could come out as something that, I don't know. I mean, you know, you could be inside a neutron star, for crying out loud. I have no idea, because your soul's still there, and that soul goes through these stages. And God is telling us that. We read in chapter 55. Okay, says that the guilty will not be asked for their crime. The guilty will be recognized by the looks.
Yeah.
Okay, so that kind of sort of the scarlet letter, if you will, okay, which is going to humiliate a lot of people. That the looks is going to be an indication of the sins that they have committed. So that's what God is saying here, that we just read it, okay? That at the very beginning of the chapter, he says, humiliating and exalting. Okay, so that's what this event is going to do to people.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Fazely.
Thank you. No problem. Okay, anything else?
Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Fazely.
Walaikum assalam. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, Alhamdulillah. Thank you. Just a quick observation, Dr. Fazely.
Yes. Yes.
Twice in this chapter, in verse 74 and then again in 96, we are asked to glorify the name of Azim, which we do in our prayers. So it's quite a wonderful thing.
Exactly. Very good. Yes. Yep. Very good.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salam Ahmed. Yes, go ahead, please.
To add more to that, what Sadruddin just pointed out to those two verses, they are the exact same words in exact same letters. And it occurs in the Quran 3 times. 2 times in this chapter and 1 time in chapter 69, 52.
Yeah.
The end of 52. I mean, end of 69, that's 52. To glorify the name of your Lord, the Great.
Yep.
And that's why we are here on earth, to do that.
Exactly. Yep.
To do that. Nothing else matters. Glorify God. I was also looking at the 3 groups at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
The far ahead and the blissful. And what's interesting is one group says majority from the early generation and few from the later. And the second one, many from the early and many from the later. Yep. But we don't see any number of the disbelievers. It's interesting, that you can see that the indication in other chapters, God saying He will fill hell with all the humans and jinns. It says, except those whom God has mercy on them. So there's no number. There are always the majority.
Yep.
If you look at that, there is no figure. It doesn't say many from the early or few from the previous or many in the later. They will always be the majority. And you can see that. We just have to ask God to guide us and direct us to the right path.
Yes.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. Very good. Thank you. Yep.
Assalamualaikum, Mr. Parvez.
Walaikum salam, Parvez. Yes, go ahead, please.
What is this? What is the great perjury which is mentioned in verse 46? Is it after 47 about the resurrection?
Denying of the hereafter. Okay.
Well, that's
huge stumbling block for a lot of people. It's not. They used to say when it's right there. After that's 47. You see, and they used to say, when we die and become dust and bones, will we then indeed be resurrected? And our ancestors? Oh, come on, guys. You get real. It's not going to happen. Yep.
So this is a great warning by saying great perjury.
Huge.
It's the way it is stated, it's just not something to be taken lightly, and so people joke around on the hereafter. That's something should be avoided at all costs. Because the whole surah in this one is about the hereafter and what may happen to us. And when you read this surah, it is short, but it is very powerful. It has an amazing impact on us. I mean, it is scary if you think deeply into what's happening. It's not a simple surah. Of course, the solution over here, as Mahmoud said, is just to glorify God, and that's how we can save ourselves. Thank you, sir.
Yep. Yes, indeed. Well, I mean, a lot of this stuff that God is talking about, it's just allegorical, okay? And this is burning shade, samum and scalding water, this hellish wind that's blowing on them, and the samum. That's what samum is, and and then burning shade, never cooling, never pleasing. All of these are warnings that we should take heed, and we should become serious about our own lives. Yeah.
The title of the surah itself is sufficient, the event. It's something to take heed.
Exactly.
I think there's another surah 69 is the inevitable. Is describing the event itself.
Yes, inevitable. Yes.
I mean, they support each other. I mean, it's an event that is inevitable. I mean,
yep.
As you said,
no, I mean,
God is warning us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But again, all of these things that God is talking about here is again, these are allegorical and pleasing to people. Okay, all of these things that God is saying. Okay, with goblets, pitchers and cups filled with pure drinks, all of these things. Okay, they never run out of it, and they never get tired. Okay, so this is not something which is repetitive, and people are going to get bored, and it's not like that. Okay, so it's something. But what we should think of is that the ultimate enjoyment of paradise is that you are there in the presence of God. That is what the enjoyment is, and all of that feels like this. See what I'm saying? So this is what God is basically transmitting to us. That enjoyment is going to feel like this for you.
Yeah, we read it in the preceding surah. That's how it ended in Surah 55, right? Rightful king.
Yes.
The right place.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What I wanted to make a couple of comments on what God is actually. It's after all of these good news and warnings that God has given us, then God goes through all of these basically rhetorical questions that make us think. Okay, that that all of these things that you have, all of these provisions that you have, who has provided this for you? And so that we have to think and take heed and take this to heart, that God is the one who is doing that. Okay, so this is after God is talking about, therefore glorify the name of your Lord the Great. I therefore swear by the position of the stars. And then God is saying this now, and this is certainly a mighty oath if you only knew. So It's in God says, إِنَّهُ لَقُرْآنٌ كَرِيمٌ. Okay? And then he says, this is indeed an honorable Quran in a protected book. So the protected book goes into this mathematics that we are being witnessing every week. Okay, by the way, I put it on the web, okay? I put the findings on the web so you have it there and you can go through it and enjoy it. Then God is telling us the mechanism for this. The mechanism of how to learn this protected book. So no one can understand it except the pure at heart. Okay? لا يمسه إلا المطهرون. And then God says, a revelation from the Lord of the multiverse. Okay? And then God is warning us about this hadith. You see, it says that, are you taking this narration lightly? Okay? So God is saying this is the hadith. Okay? Not any other one. Are you making it your business to stubbornly reject it? Okay? And then God is telling us what's going to happen. This is the soul, it's going to reach the soul, wants to get out. Soul wants to get out, has no other option. Okay? And you all look around wondering, everybody, all those people around this person who's about to die. And then God says, however, we are closer to him than all of you, but you cannot see. Our eyes are not designed to see God. Okay? And then God says, okay, if you think you don't owe anything, okay, bring it back. Try to bring back the soul. If you're truthful. And then God says, now look, this is one of these three categories that God described. Okay? And then if he is one of the close ones, okay, okay. So if there's one of the muqarrabun, then he says, hang on a second. Okay. Yes. He will then enjoy, he will have enjoyment in a paradise full of bliss. And if he is one of the dwellers of the bliss, okay, that has understood and translated as people of the right side, okay, the right wing of a party. Can you imagine that? Okay, and then Shimal has been the left side. So people have been hating people who are left-handed, that they are possessed by the devil. Okay, this is how these things actually come into people understanding. Okay, so the word yamin means your right hand. That's obvious. That's true. Okay, but also means something which is blessed. Okay, Yemen, which is a country, means the land of bliss. Not doesn't mean the right side. Right side of what? Okay. Janib Torah Ayman. Okay. The right side of the mountain. Which side is the right side of the mountain? Can you imagine that kind of understanding? It's a blessed mountain. That's what it is. By the side of the blessed mountain. Okay. So we go through life and have these kind of understandings of things, and they're all wrong. We go through 100 years of life, and then we die, we don't even know what the meaning of those things were. That's really painful. Okay? And God is telling us that, it says that, and if he is one of the liars, deviators, he will then descend into the intolerable hell and the abode of the infernal. Okay. Indeed, this is absolute truth. Therefore, فَسَبِّحْ بِاسْمِ رَبِّكَ الْعَظِيمِ. Okay. Glorify the name of your Lord, the Great. So one more time, God is mentioning this here. Okay, and that's what we should do. That's why praise is so important. We remember God. We glorify God. That's the idea. All of us have to take to heart and be cognizant of this fact that we are here at God's pleasure and we have to please Him. Otherwise, it won't work. As I said, it's something that we have to be cognizant of, and we all have a huge enemy, and that's Satan. And he comes in then and says, "Look, forget about these things. These are a bunch of nonsense. You have more important stuff to do." So that's what you should do. Okay? But again, when the time comes for your prayers, you drop everything. Go say your prayers. Okay? That's the way that a righteous person does things. After you did it, it takes 2-3 minutes. Then you come back and your soul has grown tremendously. You cannot see it. You feel better. You feel content. You have this tranquility inside you. And that's what a righteous person should do. And that you get closer to God, and that should be the goal. Okay, and ignore and reject the whispers of Satan. And then that way we can be successful. Okay. Anyway, as I said, I wanted to to highlight this verse 75, that God is therefore soaring by the position of the stars, and those are so important for us. I mean, if you I don't know if you guys can hear this or not, but there are things that yeah, this was a Nova program. I think that. Can you hear this or
not? I cannot hear.
you cannot hear it?
Very clear.
Okay. Yeah, there was let's see, preferences here. Let's see, look at this. Yeah. Can you hear it now?
Yes. No.
Okay, very good. Okay.
Oh, we can't hear. We cannot hear.
You cannot hear it?
I
No.
cannot. No, we
I guess
cannot.
some people,
Fazely.
some people can hear it maybe.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay.
Can you raise the volume on that film?
Yeah. I know. I cannot hear him. Okay. Well, anyway, this is you can just look this up. Okay, it says how the sun moves through the galaxy, how fast the Earth moves through the universe, all of these things, and as I said, every day that you wake up is a brand new place. It's not the same, and we have to enjoy it. So
perpetual motion machine. Yeah, motion.
So anyway, and that's the idea that you should you should think about. And so what he was talking about there, he was talking about the so-called inertial frame. Inertial frame is something that you measure everything with respect to so-called fixed stars. That's basically all of the mechanics that we use is based on that. And then some guy came named Einstein. He said, no, you guys are all wrong. He said, what happens if we just eliminate all the stars? Okay, and if you eliminate all the stars, you'd be lost. Okay, that's how you navigate. You navigate with the stars, and so he said, no, that's not the case. And what you should do is you should gauge everything with respect to the speed of light, and completely change the picture of the universe. And so, this is how things are done. This is how God reveals things. And as I said, He teaches people and what they do not know. Okay, as He says in chapter 96. Okay, but unfortunately, I think that we believe that somehow, that something special about somebody that that discovers these things. That's not the case. It's just all God is doing this, and He's teaching people. He reveals things at the right time when it's supposed to be revealed. Okay, if you read the history of Einstein discovery, all of those things, Lorentz transformation, everything that was supposed to be happening at that time. Okay, and even Lorentz didn't believe what he was saying, but he was right. Lorentz, who actually had the Lorentz transformation, he did not believe that applies to the universe, but he did. He took it, and he was right. And so that happened exactly at the same time. So he took that piece of information and interpreted the right way. Okay, so these things happen, but as I said, every day that you wake up, Okay, the size of this universe, or the size of our own, uh, this so-called. Let's see here if I have that one here. Okay. This is the so-called local group of galaxies. Okay.
Glory be to you.
Yeah.
Glory
So
be
you
to
have,
you.
yeah. So you have the
Marshall.
you have the Milky Way here, and you have Andromeda here, and this is a triangulum galaxy. So this is called the local group. This local group, every day, it becomes, every 24 hours becomes bigger by about, I believe it's 6 or 7 times the distance from the Earth to the Moon. Okay, it gets bigger. So your parents were not here. You are here. Okay, and then what's going to happen is the next day is the same way. Okay, it's going to get bigger. This local group. And then they say that this little galaxy here, which is called Triangulum Galaxy, is actually a satellite galaxy of Andromeda. It goes around it. It doesn't go around it overnight, obviously. It's going to take 1 billion years for it to go around this galaxy. Okay. So anyway, and this is an artist's conception of the local group of galaxies, our local group. So this whole thing is part of a bigger thing called supercluster of galaxies, and we are in the Virgo supercluster of galaxies. And that's how big this is. This is how huge. That's why God, as I said, when God says, "I swear by the position of the stars," okay, and those stars are moving. God knows exactly where they are at any moment. Okay? And they never violate God's laws. They obey Him. That's why it looks so beautiful. Yeah. Okay. Any questions? Any comments? Any observations on this chapter the stuff that we read here?
What about verse 79, pure at heart? Does that mean to be rid of our biases?
I'm sorry, which one is it?
Verse 79.
79. Let me go there. Yeah, no one can understand except the pure at heart. No, it just means that you have to be sincere to understand
Sincerity.
it. Yeah. It's if you're not sincere, then you will never learn. The Quran has become a very confusing book. People do not understand it. And, they get tired and they leave. They go someplace else. Okay? It happens. It happens all the time. It's very dangerous. Very dangerous. So, but if you're not pure at heart, if you have, as God says, those are the people who have a disease in their hearts. Okay. This is so what? But this is then it says that the word massa means you become one with something. Okay. And so you become one with the Quran if you are sincere, if you are pure at heart, if you have any disease in your heart. I'm not talking about heart disease, okay? I'm talking about impurity, okay, of the mind. People have an agenda. If you have no agenda and your goal is to learn and ask God to teach you and increase your knowledge, then that person is going to become one with the Quran. Or in other words, Quran is going to be in his or her heart.
So basically, you become synced with the Quran. I mean, synchronous with the Quran.
Yeah, yeah.
You're in agreement, a total agreement with the Quran.
Yes.
Unfortunately, people are sincerely rejecting the truth. That's the only problem.
Yeah, that's a big problem. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They don't want the information that comes from the Quran. They want it from outside the Quran.
Yeah, yeah. They want. As I said, but if you go outside, you come back to the same thing. Doesn't matter. You see, you're going to come back to the same thing. Because we just read it. He says, I swear by the position of the stars. And that's an amazing statement. And we look at these pictures, and God says, I made water to be the prerequisite of all things. Okay, and so, we know that, and water is the fluid or the liquid of life. You cannot live without water, and it is so abundant in the universe, which means life is abundant in the universe. Okay.
It's amazing.
Absolutely, yes. Yes.
It's humbling to think life is everywhere. Sorry, go ahead, please.
Go ahead, Sarah.
Sorry, go ahead. Finish up, and then we'll talk. Go ahead, Parvez.
I'm done. Thank you. Go ahead, please.
Assalamualaikum. Dr. Fazely, since you started talking about the universe, I was reading up on some stuff, and then they were talking about the sound coming from space, including black hole and sounds coming from Jupiter. Pardon my denseness. How is NASA collecting sound from space? My understanding is that it's a vacuum. So how is that the sound waves are basically making it through?
Well, there's a lot of matter and atmosphere around Jupiter. Jupiter is not vacuum. Then the sound.
Collected?
The sound is going to. Well, the thing is that sound creates vibration.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they measure those vibrations of those sounds, and
so they're taking the vibrations and then turning them into sound.
Then they simulate it to become like sound.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Or sometimes they have things like the ones that they send to Mars. They actually have microphones. Okay, so when there's a wind blowing or something like that, they can actually hear it.
But there's an atmosphere in Mars and whatever.
There's also atmosphere around Jupiter. Yeah, the same way.
Yeah, like the one that really baffled me was they were saying that the sound was coming in from the black hole, and I'm like.
The same thing with the black hole. Black hole is not vacuum. There's a lot of junk around black holes. Yes. Yeah. You remember that black hole? Things just keep falling into black holes. So again, they look at that and they take pictures and all kinds of stuff, and then they do the calculation, the simulation. How would it be if sound actually was mimicking sound, and then they can measure it.
So basically, mimicking the vibration that is being measured.
Yeah, exactly.
And sounding out what the vibration would create if it was happening within an atmospheric place like Earth. Right. Yes? Okay, right. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Fazely.
Alaikum salam, Nishat, yes.
Can I ask a question about last week's khutbah and discussion?
Yes.
You talked a lot about how Satan turned into a jinn after he disobeyed God, and that he was not a jinn to start with. Are all the angels made from fire? Because there was another verse that I was reading that talked about before when Satan was just refusing to honor Adam, he said that you made me from fire and you made human being from mud. So that's why I don't want to honor him, the human being. So all the angels are made from fire, or is it just jinns that are made of fire?
No. You see, you're mixing the two things, conflating two things. One is the body, the other one is the actual person. Okay? Mm-hmm. So Satan had an avatar which was jinn. That avatar was made out of fire. Okay? Or energy. And then humans, they also had an avatar. And that avatar was made out of clay. Okay? But that body was not containing the soul. The soul was outside. And then once they made the mistake, the bodies were trapped by those souls. The souls were trapped by those bodies. And then they became a jinn, and then in the case of Adam and Eve, they became human, and they were embarrassed, and they started covering themselves because their body became visible to them.
So when Satan was refusing to honor Adam, it was the soul. It was just the soul. It wasn't a body.
Yeah. Let me bring this example for you. Okay. So there are two people, two families. They have kids. Okay. And one of the kids goes to MIT, and the other kid goes to State University, someplace. Okay. The guy says, "I'm better than you because my kid goes to MIT." Okay. But your kid goes to the State University. So that's what he was saying. Okay? My body is made out of energy. This yo-yo that you created, okay? He's a poor guy. His body is clay. Okay? I'm better. Yeah. That's what the stakbara, that's what God says. He actually became haughty and he wanted greatness for himself through these kind of concepts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay, very good. Okay. Okay, very good. Are there any other questions or comments before we close for tonight? Okay. As I said, I put it up so you can look at it, okay, on the web, and enjoy it. Hope you enjoy it as much as I do. And so, inshallah. Okay. So let's close for tonight, and then we do 2 hours.